Let's cut the cameras right now.
Good.
Yeah. Hello everyone and welcome back to Real Talk, where we have real people, real talk, and real vibes. Now, if you're new here, we're just doing rapid style interview questions with our guests. They have 3 seconds to answer these questions, and although my questions are scripted, their answers are not.
You didn't tell me that.
We are here today at Studio S with none other than Thema Williams. So where you from and what primary and secondary school you went to?
I am from Diego Martin area. I went to Diamondville Government Primary and I attended St. Joseph's Convent, Port of Spain.
And then, so describe your personality in only Chinese slang for me if you could.
Wow. That's a real tough one, boy.
I know, everybody gets sugar.
That's a hard one. Only Chinese slang.
Yeah.
But I came here to talk a proper interview.
Oh,
I mean, only Trinidad
I'm sorry. She said she's a serious lady. Let me
Yeah,
stop the nonsense. What is your doubles order?
My doubles order is a triples. With everything, no sweet sauce.
Oh, okay.
And
Nobody's
roast, and
triples.
roast.
And what?
And roast.
That takes me straight into my next question. What is your relationship with pepper sauce and what does that say about
An
you?
excellent relationship. My grandmother used to make it religiously, and I am a booties fan. If y'all want to sponsor me, please do.
There we go. Tag Beatties for that. Have you ever been the villain in somebody's story?
Of course.
What villain would you say you were?
You know, my favorite villain is from Maleficent.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
that
that one.
The Wicked Witch of the Diego Martin West. On the serious side, if somebody asks you what do you do, what are the different titles or the different hats you say you wear?
I am a mother, first and foremost, recently, right? 2 years now. I am an entrepreneur. And of course, I'm a former athlete.
I was lucky enough to trade with him, but wasn't in top the gymnast with her. With that whole experience, when you were replaced with the federation, like what was the first thing you felt and what was the second thing you felt?
I would say the first thing that I felt was a bit betrayed. And the second thing that I felt was I had to reframe it. So if you view things, and I learned this also along my roadmap of business, if you view it as betrayal, then you tend to act emotionally. But if you view it as business, then you act strategically.
You're able to really just change all that and come back and now open your own gym and be able to create features for other gymnasts in Trinidad and Tobago. So I know for most people, I probably would have given up. I'd probably say, see me, like, that be me down, but what kept you pushing and able to do something like this? Because I know it's not easy.
I really love gymnastics. Gymnastics, as I said, started off for me as a passion. And you know that. We loved.
Mommy used to get sick, and from time she said, no gym. Oh, no, I good.
You feel instantly better. That was the remedy. But like realistically, for me, it's just a passion that like lived on for me. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to do gymnastics anymore because it's a huge time commitment to do elite gymnastics. So I was like, how about if I pass on my knowledge and my skills to the younger generation and give them an opportunity now to succeed?
How much of it was it just like your ambition, or how much of it was bad mind, if any bad mind at all, to prove anything wrong?
I definitely didn't want to like prove anything to anybody. At that point, it was about me. I had spent 2 years in Michigan. I had left right after Form 6 exams. I missed out on all the parties. I missed out on a great deal of stuff. I sacrificed a lot. So for me, it was about the payoff for me. It wasn't about anybody else at that point.
You've covered elegantly as well. I feel like you're not a no drama. You've never been seen to say anything ill will of other people. Matter of fact, it's the people on Twitter talking for you. They'll be like, I don't care if I only over it, but I still talking for Thema Williams. So I think it's good to see that. So with that being said, Trinidad have a phrase of like, we support we. Do you feel like that's true?
I would say that it depends on the circumstance. It's very circumstantial because it can go exponentially well, but it can also be chaotic with Trinidadians. Even on the other side of things, when it happened, like my situation on the other side for Marissa Dick and stuff, like I mean, it was the entire opposite, right? So I would say Trinidadians, it could go either way.
And
I'll leave it at that.
Do you feel like you're more respected now as Thema Williams, the entrepreneur, than you were Thema Williams, the gymnast, or do you feel like it had to take that for you to get that kind of respect?
I definitely think that I'm more respected, not just as being an entrepreneur, but for how I rode my own wave. You know, a lot of people in Trinidad like to ride other people's waves, bandwagonists, as we like to call it, behavior, right? I mean, nothing is wrong with that because each person has their role to play in life, right? And some people are there to support others, and that's fine. But I felt like for me, the major thing was just how I paved the path afterward and how I used it as my springboard to success. I think that's what got the respect.
Are you where you thought you'd be right now at this point in time? Do you think you're further along? Like what do you think about where you are?
I don't think I've already set a full roadmap for my life as much as people would think that my life is very planned. One of the things that we experienced growing up was a lot of discipline because of sports. And that kind of traumatized me. because every day was planned. We had a routine every day. We had a timetable. And that really made me feel like there was a point in time when I really wanted to be rebellious. Yeah. And for me, even being an entrepreneur felt like a sense of that rebellion because I got to make my own choices. Yeah. So I would say, yes, I am where I want to be right now because there was no script that I wrote for myself.
And do you know if you have an end goal, or would that be for you?
I would say that I'm going to keep that goal private because I think that people tend to take your dreams and they tend to want to diminish it and belittle it and bring it down and try to cut it down to their size. And I don't really want that to happen. But you all will see it though. It will happen and you all will see it.
Stay tuned. So I know one of the big things you talked about was being a mother, and that's your first and foremost title. As somebody who, we saw Thema, the things Thema could do when she was pregnant, I don't think I could even do now as a former gymnast without being pregnant. Becoming a mother, do any, change of how you saw your body or anything like that?
In the first, I remember when I had Ali Reza, but before I had him, I actually wanted to tell this story because a lot of people wouldn't know this. But about 2 weeks before I had him, I missed my doctor's appointments. Now, this is my first time pregnant. I don't know anything about none of this. So my doctor calls me and she's like, you missed your last set of appointments. You can't do that this close to delivery. Yeah. And I was like panicking. At this point, I just came out of a movie at MovieTown. I was chilling. My legs were popped up. Yeah, what do you mean? Navel breaker, belly out. Like, I was having a great time. And she was like, girl, you crazy or something? You cannot miss up. I was like, okay. She's like, I'm coming in at 6 a.m. tomorrow. Be there. I go into the doctor's appointment and they take my blood pressure and they're like, you good? I was like, I feel fine. And they're like, okay, so go inside, maybe because it's early in the morning, do what you have to do there and come back out and we'll test it again. I come back out, my blood pressure is still high. And they're just like, do you have any stuff packed? They're just like, okay, you need to go straight to Mount Hope, right? Because they thought I had preeclampsia. That's exactly. So I think I may have had preeclampsia.
Sometimes,
I was getting headaches. But I didn't know anything about that. I was there like trying to do my Lamaze classes on YouTube, like bouncing around, like, yeah. I got this. And then they were like, no, we're going to have to admit you and we're going to have to induce you now. Yeah. I call my cousin, I'm on the phone and I'm just like, can you let them know that if the baby doesn't come out in 2 days, they're not going to do the C-section. I'm not trying to do that. Like, I don't have that kind of time. And they were just like, well, if we don't do that, you and the baby could die. So I was like, okay, well, admit me, I guess. Yeah. And I was there for 3 days? I think within the next 2 days, I had Ali Reza. And thankfully, everything was fine. It was okay, but that was like a health scare for me.
Because even when it comes to postpartum, I see like you're someone who was very disciplined. You're accustomed to doing a lot of things on your time, and so now you have to make your life for somebody else. How was postpartum for you as well in terms of that?
So postpartum for me was interesting because that was one thing I knew about, the postpartum depression. I knew about that for a long time. And I was like, okay, we're not going to slip into this. Anytime we have certain feelings, number one, we pray. Yeah. Number 2, we exercise. Number 3, we go for a walk. We do something. Being a mom and being as independent as I was, that could really make you feel like your spirit is shattered. I'm not even going to lie. I could understand why some women go through it. But I think educating yourself beforehand on like what postpartum depression is and learning ways to mitigate it really helped me.
Yeah. So now, with that being said, a lot of people say that, their children are their legacy. So what legacy would you like to leave with your son and for everybody?
I would say with Ali Reza particularly, I do want him to believe that anything is possible. I currently have him enrolled in 2 sports. A lot of people ask me like, yeah, well, he's going to be an Olympian because, his father did track and field. He is an Olympian as well. And it's like, I'm not going to force him in any direction. I will put him into sport because I know the importance of that and the discipline that comes with it. But for me, the legacy that I want to leave behind is that anything is possible for him.
That being said, any real talk can you leave with the audience before we leave today?
I would say you have to ride your own wave, and what the enemy intends for evil, the Lord will always turn into good. And if you keep that in mind in every situation in life, you become thankful for everything.
So that's a good thing to leave me with because that touched me already. Thank you so much, Thema, for coming and keeping it with us today. And until next time, y'all, toodles.
It was awesome, man. That was great.